Mr. Ray, you have 3 minutes.
I am an optimist by nature, where I think most politicians in Washington are pessimists. They see what they have, their glass is always half empty, and they're trying to figure out how to get more and more of that glass. And I'm not just an optimist, I'm an American optimist. But I don't just look at my glass being half full. I'm trying to figure out ways to fill it up and make it overflow so I can get everybody else to drink. John F. Kennedy said a rising tide floats all boats. We get America to work, and we can do that right now. There are ways that we could put America to work that wouldn't cost the taxpayer any money, and to do it cleanly and correctly. There's no reason that we can't do it. American architects, engineers, and contractors are as good as any in the world. They can do the job. The biggest issue right now in America is just getting government out of the way for them. Government should be like a good referee in an athletic event. They don't determine the outcome of who's going to win or lose. They should make sure that everybody knows the rules and everybody plays fair, and then allow the teams to play. Because Americans are incredibly industrious and creative. If you get out of their way, you give them half a chance. The housing industry is trying to bounce back right now. Even though Congress has made one bad ruling and one bad piece of legislation right after the next. They have stalled out our recovery much more than it should have been. Because they don't understand what they're doing. Because they won't admit that the original problem was created by a handful of politicians who went to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and said, hey, make more loans to more people that can't afford it. What was it, 1995, that Community Reinvestment, some kind of act in 1995, I apologize, I don't know the exact name. And then Wall Street, by bundling good loans with bad loans so you couldn't tell that they were bad in there, gave it legs, let it take off. They created the entire situation, but they won't admit that. We have, right now, the opportunity to make a decision on where we want to go with the rest of our future. America in the last 300 years has done more, created more, invented more, accomplished more than all of the other civilizations in the history of the world combined. And we have a choice right now. We can either decide that we want to go a socialist European style government, which we can stand right there and watch Europe, watch them just go bankrupt, which is where we'll go on the same, if you're driving on the same road, you end up at the same place. And end up with just bankrupt and mediocrity, and end up in the history books as a once great civilization, like Rome and Greece and some of the others. Or we have the opportunity to put ourselves back on track by opening up the energy industry, getting housing back on track, getting small businesses working again, getting America going in a positive direction, getting industry back into our country again. So America once again becomes the land of opportunity, the place to be. And can you imagine, with what we've created and developed up to this point, can you imagine what we could possibly do in the next 300 years? That's the America that I want my kids to grow up in, my grandkids to grow up in. At the same time as these jobs, we get jobs, and we also get more, we get less entitlements for people working off welfare and unemployment checks, on payroll checks, then we go after the deficit. I would love to represent you. Thank you.
Congressman Garamendi, 3 minutes.
I want to congratulate and thank my colleagues at the table for sharing this evening with all of us. It's very important what's going on here. America is going to be making some choices about which direction we're going to be going in this election. And rarely is it so clear, the paths, the differences in the paths that are being proposed. In the recent Republican budget, a path is clearly laid out. We spoke to that in some way. The other path is one that is based upon the long traditions of America, upon the traditions of this country where the government works with the private sector. It goes right back to George Washington. One of the very first things he did was to hand Alexander Hamilton a letter saying, I want an industrial policy and I want it to include these 7 things. And indeed, the day he was inaugurated, he refused to wear a suit from Europe, but rather he used American cloth and American tailors. We can rebuild the American economy. We can do it with wise public policies. We've discussed many here today. And you've seen some differences in approach. I love this work. It's been my life's work. And I'll not give up one moment of this work that I've been privileged to have. The troubles that this nation has are all within our grasp, and solutions are available. We need to apply ourselves, and we need to find the compromises to make it happen. I don't have much hope in the next 6 months of finding that. But when the election is over, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel and make sure that we find the solutions. I hope I've given you some sense of where I think we ought to be taking this country. I do know that we can rebuild the American manufacturing industry, and can rebuild it with the kind of law that I proposed, talked about it today in a press conference in San Francisco. And that is that our tax money, your tax money, my tax money, be used to buy American-made equipment. And that we not use that money to buy overseas products, whether they are wind turbines or buses or trains or whatever. We can do these things. We do need wise tax policy. We also need to be sensitive to the needs of our elders. The seniors in this country are going to be a large part of our population, and proposals that have been put forward really destroy their opportunity, whether it's the Medicaid, the necessity of many seniors to depend upon Medicaid for their nursing home, or the Medicare program, which is proposed by the Republicans to simply be destroyed, privatized, and put you back in the hands of the insurance industry that I know so very, very well, and all the discrimination that comes with it. We have a great task to make sure that our national security is strong, that we don't waste our money on military adventures. We end the war in Afghanistan, bring our troops home as President Obama has successfully done in Iraq, and get on with building this nation's economy. And we can do these things. We're going to have to do it together. We're going to have to do it with compromise, and we're going to have to do it with some very clear policies. We look forward to this coming election as all of us debate these issues. And I thank you all very much for joining us tonight.
Mr. Tubb, you have 3 minutes.
Would like to add my thank you to everybody coming out tonight. This is a great chance to take a look at the people asking you for their support and who you're going to pick to be your voice in Washington, D.C. for this area. I don't like notes, but I'm going to read something because it's so important. February 16th of this year, Secretary Timothy Geithner, Treasury Secretary, to the House Budget Committee, said these words of President Obama's 2013 budget, the most expensive in the United States history. That budget, quote, would put the U.S. on an unsustainable course if enacted. Secretary Geithner went on to say, although the Obama administration doesn't have a definitive solution to the debt crisis, it definitely knows it doesn't like the Republican alternative. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why someone like me has a chance of representing you at this time in our history is because we have a failure of leadership in Washington, D.C. by politicians who don't stick their neck out, offer solutions, defend them to the American people, and build the bridges to get them enacted. Now I'm going to say something very important right now. I respect Congressman Garamendi and honor the lifelong service he has given to the state and to this country. I would never take that away from him. But quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for new blood, new ideas. The $1 trillion deficit shows the failure of those that are there. Now, someone up here said it's no time for rookies. It wasn't one of these two. I say it's no time for status quo politicians who keep trying the same things over and over again and keep failing. I'm offering real solutions, real ideas. I've got leadership through war, through peace, through small businesses, through family. I'm a commander of my unit. I've built those bridges. I've solved problems. I'm no rookie at fixing things, at making hard decisions, defending them to my people, and moving forward, and listening when there's better ideas out there. The time now, folks, is to elect representatives who don't care about partisanship, don't care about the next election, don't care about all the things that they care about today. It's time to elect people who care about making things right, about solving the problems to save this American dream for the future generations. That's why I'm running. That's why I'm asking for your support. That's why I hope you vote for me this June and this November. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless America.
That concludes our forum. On behalf of the Fairfield, Sassoon, and Vacaville Chambers of Commerce and their respective political action committees, the the Northern Solano County Association of Realtors, and our host tonight, Travis Federal Credit Union. I would like to once again thank all the candidates for their participation in tonight's forum. Thank you again to Vacaville Community Television for filming tonight, and Bernice, our time here. Thank you. Have a great evening.